Hello and welcome to the August Smart Trading Monthly newsletter update. The markets have continued their strong move with the ASX continuing to move higher and other world markets also doing the same. I had a great webinar last night with all my Mastermind Mentor clients sharing an update on the market and my trades. So this video is a small taste of some of the activity I've been up to in the market, and updating you on a few of the trades I shared in my last newsletter video update to you in July. But before we get started, I just need to remind you that I'm not licensed to provide any personal investment advice. This video and all the charts and trades I share are for illustrative purposes only, and I'm just showing you how I view the current market and sharing this with you. Now, for those that have been following me for a while, you know that I have two trading systems I predominantly trade. My long-term weekly system, which is a long-only system that I trade with shares, and I shared a couple of trades from that system with you regularly over the last few months. Two of those trades have hit their stops, so I'll give you an update on those ones. I have plenty in my portfolio open and running, so I just select one or two from each of my portfolios and share the trades with you and give you an update in each newsletter video on how they progress. Then I've got my medium-term daily system, and this system I trade with CFDs. It's my swing trading system. It won't hold shares for the longer term. Now, this system can trade long and short in direction. I have also come back from being away for a couple of weeks, so I completely turn this system off when I go away traveling because I can't be focused on the market. If I'm only away for a couple of days, I don't. But if I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks, I will turn my daily system off, but I will always keep my long-term weekly system running with my stop losses set online. So I've just started back in the last sort of 10 days into my daily swing trading system. So I'll give you an update on a couple of trades with that system that I've built into. And all my trading strategies are shared in my Ultimate Smart Trading Mentor course. So if you want to get inside my head, you want to learn how I trade, you want to know more about my trading systems and get my trading plan, this is the course that I share it all in. And then I have a mastermind program where I support my mentor clients. And we have a couple of webinars throughout the year, which we had last night. And I have much more detailed video updates on all my trades with my mentor clients, and we have a discussion forum. So moving on, let's head on over to the markets and let me give you an update on a couple of trades I've shared with you previously, as well as what the major indices are doing. So here's Metastock. This is the ASX 200, and it's a weekly chart. And as you can see, the ASX 200 has been healthy and in an uptrend channel. And it's continued to stay healthy. And the good thing is it's actually staying above this 6,000 level that it has struggled to get above previously and did get above it and then collapsed back under. This time it has risen above it and now receives support from it and moved higher. So that's a good healthy sign for the Aussie market. The US markets have also been continuing a nice trend higher. They're making equal highs at the moment, which if they move beyond this level, they're back in blue sky territory again, because this is the highest point the S&P 500 in the US has been. So it'll be interesting to see whether it pushes through new highs, and it's got a significant number of 3,000 to get through as well. But if it's going to remain healthy and this long-term bullish uptrend is going to continue, then these things will continue to pan out. Of course, I've got no idea what's going to happen. I just trade my systems and my money management rules, and if a change comes in the market, I'm completely prepared to handle that. If it continues, then I'll continue opening trades and building into positions and taking advantage of the bullish trend. Now, as you know, I trade both the Aussie and the US markets. So in my last newsletter video update, I gave you an update on this trade. This is Netflix. This was a weekly long-term trade I bought into when it broke to new highs after it had consolidated for a couple of month period. I bought into it, but unfortunately it's completely collapsed and it hit my stop loss. So it didn't continue its move. So I have taken a small loss on this trade and held it for 62 days all up, and I took a negative 3% loss, and it was a negative 0.19 R multiple loss. So this particular trade hasn't panned out into continuing, and my stop loss hasn't continued to move up. If my stop gets hit, which it did, I'm automatically sold out of this trade with my broker, and that's exactly what happened. I was away on holidays, it automatically sold out for me, so I didn't have to do it myself, and I have all my stops set up with my broker. So that's a small losing trade, and that's what happens in my trading. I'll have some big winners on board, and I'll have some small wins and some small losses, but it's making sure my losses don't get out of control. And sometimes I will get whipsawed out of a trade only to see a trade take off again. That's just part of trading. That's what happens. There's no holy grail stop loss indicator that's going to keep you in everything the same way. So I want to share another trade I've closed out of. Exit this down. Here's Altium. I've been sharing this trade with you regularly in my newsletter updates. I'd entered into this one on the 14th of June. I pyramided in as per my trading plan rules and bought more. I then took some windfall profits when it had doubled in price, and then the remainder of the trade was left open, and my stop loss was just recently hit while I was away and automatically sold out. So I held that trade for 413 days, so that was over a year period. Made just under double, so 97.67% return and 11.59 R multiple. Now this share then took off after I was sold out of it, and sometimes that happens. But I was able to take advantage of this rise. I'd come back from my holiday, I got a signal with my daily swing trading system, and I re-entered into it. I wasn't in it with the weekly anymore, but I was in it with the daily. So let me share with you the daily system trade. So when I came back, I think it was around the 12th of August, I started building back into the market with my daily system trades, and this is one of the trades I'd entered into. It came up in my scan that day. I have several scans that I run on the market. I simply tick the scan, I press explore, and it will run a scan across the ASX 300 or the S&P 500 if that's the market that I'm trading. And then I will look at the reports in that scan, and based on my trading rules, I will pick something from that scan. So yesterday 22 shares came up in the top 300 in my scan, and I did choose a share yesterday from that scan, which I'll share with you later. So here's this one. When it came up in my scan on this day, it met my rules. The share had been in a trading channel, it had had a pullback, bounced nicely off support, which it had bounced off in the past, and was also above the nice round number of $20. Entered into it, and it took off very strongly yesterday with a rise over 30% in value. That's a huge rise in one day for a share. Now, I don't know what's going to pan out after this. It may continue to have another jump, but because it had risen up, couldn't get above $30, showed a little bit of rejection, and it was such an extreme move in one day, I took windfall profits on this trade and I have closed it down. It may now settle down. We may see some profit taking coming into the market. We may see it drop back, and there might be another opportunity to buy back into this share. There may not. It may continue higher. I don't know what's going to happen. But based on my trading plan rules, this was a huge jump in one day, so I took windfall profit action. So I held that trade for 8 days, and it was 37% on the total trade size. Now this was a CFD trade where I only had to put up 10% margin based on how my stop was set in the market, and so it was a 367% return on the margin amount, and just over a 4R win on that one. So I made 4 times my risk size. So that's a good example to show you that you can be in a trade, you can get knocked out, but if you get another opportunity, you just get back in there again. And I've done that many times before. Here's another trade. This was a trade that I did earlier in the year on Afterpay Touch. I entered into this on the weekly system. It was a share that was nice and healthy, rising, and was in blue sky territory over here, pulled back, started to bounce up. I bought into this with my weekly trading system when it bounced and started to jump up because I'd had plenty of signals into it. It then struggled to break through resistance. It collapsed, it broke through its uptrend line, and my stop loss was hit. So I took a loss on that trade. I lost just under my risk amount on that trade. I held it for 43 days and it was a negative 16.8% loss on the share trade because this one was a share trade. But lo and behold, this share then started to provide some new signals. It jumped up above $8 and I received some signals in here. Now I can't remember why I didn't enter into it early. If my money management rules don't allow me to, if I'm fully invested in the market, I can't take every opportunity that comes up in the market all the time. But I did enter back into this on the 29th of June when it jumped above $9, came up in my scan again that day, and it has now really taken off. So sometimes you get another opportunity to get back into a share that you may have been knocked out of. I took a loss on the last trade, but this trade is a different situation and it has moved very strongly. It's a weekly long-term trade, so I have different rules on my weekly trades to my daily system trades. So that trade is one that I've re-entered and I have open and running. But other times I'll be in a trade, I bought in, I pyramided, I followed my rules and sold half, then the remainder was sold out of, and it doesn't give me another signal and it completely continues to collapse. So that was Bellamy's. And these trades are just examples to show you that every trade has a different outcome. What may look like a good entry for one trade, and I can take two entries, they can have different results. So I don't know when I get stopped out of something if I'm whipsawed out of the trade or it's going to start to become unhealthy. That I have to wait and see. But then if I get another signal, I can always get back in there again. So I wanted to show you this trade as an example of another one I was stopped out of, but there was no signal and this share became very unhealthy. So you just never know what's going to pan out after you get stopped out of a trade. So that's a bit of an update on some of my weekly system trades, with a daily one thrown in there as well. Now, last newsletter video I shared API with you. So this is Australian Pharmaceuticals. I had entered into this on the 9th of July and it moved up very nicely. But then because I was travelling and going away for a couple of weeks, I closed out all the daily system trades I had open by the 23rd of July. So this was one of them that I closed out for a holiday exit reason. So this one was just a small win. Now, if I hadn't have exited out for that reason, it has moved higher and the stop loss would have moved higher as well. So that just shows you how the system would have continued on. But I held that trade for 14 days and it was just a small win on that one. Now, since then, as I mentioned, I've started rebuilding again with my daily swing trades. And here's a new trade that I added into last week on the 16th of August. Came up in my scan that day, met all my trading rules, had broken above the round number of $3, entered into it. So it has moved nicely and my stop loss has also moved upwards. Another trade that I entered into just yesterday. So as mentioned, I ran my scan yesterday. There was a standout share that I liked. This share has been moving very nicely, had a nice pullback, bounced off support and moved higher. And this share is a nice green candle with strong volume, met my trading plan rules, so I bought into it. So I identified it from my scan yesterday and entered into it before the market closed. So that's a new trade that is open and running. Now, I've got no idea what's going to happen with the trades I've got open and running, so it's all about the money management. I can't stress enough how important money management is, and it's just about following my trading plan. And if you don't have a trading plan, then head on over to my website and pick up a copy of my book, Smart Trading Plans. I will post a copy of the book to you, or you can buy it from any online bookstore or get it in Kindle version from Amazon. So that's a step-by-step guide to developing a trading plan for the stock market. And if you haven't been to my website before, make sure you download my free report. You'll get my top 10 mistakes that new traders make. Because being a new trader, you are going to make mistakes. There is no doubt about it. You have to treat it like an apprenticeship when you first start out. You will have very strong emotions once your money is in the market. If you've been trading for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And when you do enter my database, you'll also get an email when I do my monthly video updates. So goodbye for now.